We continue. It's Game Time Live at the finals presented by YouTube TV. My kids, I know they're watching at home. This is when you really will be experienced with Legos, when you can put this together. The iconic shot. It was taken from us in Game 3, a little gamesmanship, as we found out, which many of us didn't even know was necessarily a rule. That was brought by, as you see over there in that other box down there to the right, waiting to see what happens this time is our own Jared Greenberg. So, Jared, are we going to be denied of this great moment again with the Raptors maybe playing a little bit of gamesmanship?
Well, I don't know that we'll be denied of anything here. And again, for those of you who didn't tune in to Game 3, the situation here is that every opponent, every visitor in an NBA building gets the option of which side of the court they want to warm up on. And there's only about 4 or 5 teams in the NBA that come into Oracle and choose to warm up on the near side where I am here. And what that does is that forces the Warriors to go to the far side, meaning Steph Curry can't do his legendary shot here from the vomitory to the near basket. However, he still attempts one shot the distance more than 90 feet. Now, while he's made many shots on the near basket here, Steph Curry, over the last 4 years since he's been doing this, has never once made the long distance shot. However, I've been speaking with Curtis, who is the legendary security guard here, who's in charge of tossing Steph Curry the basketball. He's told me Steph is confident. He knows exactly what it's going to take to get the ball in here tonight. And while this may be the last game we ever see at Oracle, certainly one of the last games ever, it could be the first time we ever see Steph Curry hit from 90-plus feet in warmups.
All right, Jared, thank you very much. Glasses are on because we're going to take you through exactly the distance here. First, let's look at where we are for the most field goal attempts beyond half court.
Are we serious right now?
We got
That's what I was just thinking. I was just like, y'all got us on here to talk about this. Come on, man. This, oh my God.
By the way, this Charles wanted to put this together, so don't you can yell at him. Here we go, 50 feet. That's the distance from the side where he would do it. So you take it out and you put it kind of straight and narrow.
Oh my God!
That's
stop.
the distance of the Steph shot.
Casey, I'm going to slap you in the back of the head if you continue this.
Please, let's talk basketball. What a adjustment.
No, you know we used to do that also before Steph? Monte Ellis. He used to throw it backward.
People, yeah.
They used to, everybody would take that shot. Steph made it famous. But let's talk about the game.
Well, but first of all,
50 feet.
Yeah, come on, let's talk basketball. We real basketball players. Let's talk basketball. Don't do that for us on this, man.
How many guys do we have that played professionally at a high level at this table of the 4?
There's 4.
3.
75%.
3, right? The guy who didn't listens and does what he's told.
Okay, say no more.
So there you go.
Okay. You the man still.
Okay. We good now? All right, we're good now. All right. Now we can make a meme out of that. I'll be the person next to, what was it, Beyonce? Continue Game Time Live at the finals, presented by YouTube TV after Shaq's shooting advice and his own shooting. Danny Green with a big game in game number 3. Not in that order, Shaq, don't worry. A huge part of the Raptors' offense. First time since Game 1 of the 95 finals that all 5 starters in a finals game have scored 17 points.
What year?
Or more. 95
85.
finals.
Rockets,
Game number 1.
85.
Game 1.
Rockets.
What team was? What team was that?
That was the Houston Rockets. And Kenny Smith
Come on,
was one of
Penny
those
Hardaway,
5.
D. Scott, Nick Anderson.
That was us, baby. The head man of that balanced unit.
I know, but I shut that down because they got to play defense. Come on, Penny, Nick, Donald Royal, play some defense.
Coach, we've talked a lot throughout the entirety of this postseason about your expectations for your team's role players, for your second unit. What has contributed to this balanced offense we've seen lately?
Well, we certainly had a big game yesterday from everybody, or the other day. Losing track of my days like everybody around here. But, I think, I hate to say it, but I give Kyle a lot of credit for that. I think when he's the aggressor on offense, I think that oozes to everybody else, and I think everybody else became aggressive and confident. And I just thought we did a really good job of decision-making. We passed it when it should have been passed. When the shots were there, we stepped into them and took them. And everybody did it, and that was just one of those days that we were fortunate.
Defensively, your team has found success limiting the Warriors, making adjustments based on their personnel. Do you see necessary adjustments for Game 4?
Yeah, there's always things you're trying to adjust, and I always say that in the playoffs you got to be really careful of not making any after a win. right? Because they're going to make them, and things are always different in each game. So, we've looked at some things we need to back off on, some of the aggressive things, and some things we need to shore up on, and a few changes here and there on who's guarding who. That's a big adjustment as well, and certain things we're going to do out of timeouts because they're hard to guard, man. They run their offense at such a speed and a pace it makes them hard to guard.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Guys.
All right, so there is Nick Nurse talking about the game plan, and again, defensively against Steph Curry. Now with Klay there, a little bit different. But let's talk about the defense against Steph. And well, we talked about it before the game, right? We knew Klay wasn't most likely going to play, and then found that he wasn't. He got 47. I know they didn't win. Are you surprised they didn't handle it differently defensively against him? Do you expect any changes with the defense of the Raptors against Steph in this game?
No, let them have 47 and get the win. And it may stop the ball movement, may do some other things. You just want the win. And so you always have to judge from after a result-driven type decision and say, okay, it was a good decision. But tonight, you better make sure that you watch out for Klay. Klay is one of the toughest players in this league on both ends of the floor, always getting disrespected. And I love how ticked off he is all the time. And just to ask one thing, hey, Shaq, isn't today National Donut Day?
It is.
Yes, well, where the hell are the Krispy Kremes,
That is
man?
a very good point.
They in the back,
You giving
man.
away 1 million Krispy Kremes, we can't get one?
They in the back, man.
Where?
I wasn't allowed to bring. They in the back.
Come
Back of
on,
what?
Shaq. Come
Matter of
on,
fact,
dog.
Each of y'all got your own box with your picture inside. You
Okay,
even got your
all right,
face.
okay,
There is-
my bad. Back to
there
basketball.
is
You
no
even got
way
your face
that's true.
glazed on the donuts.
There is no way.
Yes.
My face is
The
glazed on
beard
the
and all,
donut.
Casey
the chocolate
Cream,
beard. Okay.
Casey Cream,
Yep.
Chrissy Cream,
Chrissy Cream.
Kenny Cream, and Shaggy
Chris-
Cream.
Okay, there we
Chrissy
go.
Cream?
Casey Cream. I like the
I
Casey
like that,
Cream.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's better than Krispy Kreme.
Yeah,
although
yeah.
It's kind of like crispy. Let me ask you from a Nick Nurse standpoint, Jet. Not a lot of talk about a first-year coach being at this point in the finals because the team was there and he was on Coach Casey's staff, and we know how great Kawhi has been. But how much credit do you give Nick with the work he's done this year and in the playoffs, especially down 0-2 against the Bucks? It's not like he hasn't faced adversity to get to this point.
Well, when you move 2 seats over, it's a big difference. When you're actually calling timeouts and you're making the substitution patterns, it is a big difference. So I think that was the one thing that everyone said, and including myself, not everyone, I'd say that I had the question mark of, is during the playoffs, being in this environment for the first time, inexperienced, because no matter what you're doing when you're sitting on the other sideline, you're giving advice. You're not actually implementing the advice. So it was going to be different. So you could be an assistant coach for 15 years and you slide 2 seats over and it's a different environment. It's like you're a rookie. So for me, I was interested to see if he was going to make in-game adjustments. I was going to also interested to see his demeanor in this moment. And he's been great. He's been great in his demeanor and his ability to handle the moment and not be overwhelmed by it.
Speaking of that, we had Pascal Siakam on set. Shaq, after the last game, handled the moment of you talking French with him extremely well. But on the court, more importantly, been brilliant. Game 1, 30-plus points. Was terrific at 14 early, really, to hang with that 17-point first quarter from Steph. How impressed have you been in his elevation, not just to a number 2 on that team, but to a guy you could trust to go get you some big buckets in the finals?
This is the right series for him. What I mean by that, Golden State plays at a fast pace. In the open court, Siakam is very dangerous. In the half court, he's almost there. He's not there yet. But if he gets going with the little jump hooks, with the little spin moves, and gets a rhythm, he could be dangerous. Game 1, when they was flying up and down the court, I think he was like 14 for 18. He shot a very high percentage because there wasn't a lot of double teams, wasn't a lot of rotation. But when the game slows down in the half court, he has a little more trouble. But he's a number 2 punch. He's confident. He's worked on his game. He's ready to go. And I don't believe in all that experience talk. Forget all that. We're here now, okay? We're here now. We're at the finals. We know what we got to do. We beat this team twice. Let's capitalize on it and just keep going. They got some people down. That's not our problem. Who's ever on the court, gonna get it.
And Casey, I want to add to Kenny's point, and talking to Coach Nick Nurse during all the games, I asked him about all of that stuff. What's up, Coach? How you doing, baby? I asked Coach Nurse about his new transition, and he told me that being on the bench these last 3 years, he thought the team was too emotional. After a big win, they would get too excited. After a big loss, they would get down. And I asked him what was the difference, and he said, one, that he got a chance to watch Coach Casey, and Coach Casey set the defensive tempo. And then he said Kawhi's personality actually is what we needed here. We needed to be more stoic instead of up and down. And so one thing I love about him is he's doing a great job, but a great man by the people that they credit around him. And that's what I love about him, is that he's saying, hey, I'm doing a good job and I'm getting help from all areas around. It's pretty cool seeing him pay homage like that.
Well, we have paid homage to the preparation of Steph Curry. He is out shooting after that 47-point performance. We will have another one post-game. We'll break it down. Will it be even or will it be 3-1? Back in the way back
with
machine.
The pump fake, Kenny, get him.
The Jets,
Hold it.
1991.
Leave it.
You gave the old school fist bump, though.
Jumping up and I'm grabbing him. He's like, what? I said it went in. He's like, oh, it went in. He didn't know he tipped it in. He didn't know he tipped it in. He didn't know he made it.
Great king.
What do you remember? Obviously, as a great shooter, you get hot many times in your life, but you wait for that time at the right time. What do you remember about the feeling that night and how desperately you wanted that ball back that next time, the time after, Kenny, considering how well you were rolling?
Honestly, I think most guys who are get to that point where they shoot the basketball, this is just like in rhythm shots. So you don't even realize you're hot. You don't go, oh man, I'm breaking a record. Like, you're just shooting the shots, and you've seen it go down so many times. You don't really worry about it. I remember when Ray Allen broke the record. I was so mad, and then I had it for you see, these are all like guys in the current era. I had it for a long time.
Because you were shooting that thing.
This is before the era where they allowed you to shoot that many. But when you're shooting it, practicing, you've seen 5, 6, 7 go in a row. So you don't think of it. You worried about how do I get and double down on Shaq before he splits the double team and get Dream in foul trouble or things like that. How do you get guard Penny Hardaway? You're not really saying, oh, I'm hot, I got to get going.
Big Shaq, I wanted to ask Shaq something. Shaq, do you think you would have won as many championships as you did if you wouldn't have lost your first one? Being the competitor that you are. I mean, I know you won the championships, but after you lost that? Okay.
Because the reason we lost that one is we celebrated too early. After we beat the Bulls, nobody has ever done it.
With the 4-5.
Yeah, nobody's ever done it. Yep. Now we got 10 days off. Get a call from Disney. They want to do a parade. I'm party at my house. These guys live around the corner. Part of them at a party at Penny House. And then I think we beat the Rockets maybe once or twice during the season.
I beat us twice.
And look, I knew Akeem was better than me, but see what? You know how it is. If you playing against somebody that's better than you and he get 30, you better get 25.
That's only happened to you once when somebody's better than you, so it brought your best out, I'm sure.
And this is the dangers when you play a great team, because we were saying, okay, we don't want Akeem to get off. We're going to let the other guys get off. And then we tried to said, you know what? We're not going to double Akeem, and then everybody else got off. And that's why I always say the importance of the others. Because Akeem did his thing, but if you don't kick it out to Kenny, and Kenny don't do his thing, and Sam Cassell don't do his thing, Akeem might not win that series.
When you talk about hunger off of a loss, I think anybody watching at home or in the media who hasn't played understands the feel in their own life in some way of, okay, I got to go and find a way to go get what I couldn't and say I told you so, prove to myself. Kenny, what I always admire, and for all of you, is for guys who have gone back-to-back and have gone there again, and like the Warriors are now trying to do. Look, 5 straight finals, 3 straight champions. How do you even explain to somebody like me and people watching how you create that hunger the same way?
It's difficult because it's not that you're not hungry. It's that you can't find the adrenaline rush to get you through moments at times.
Right.
Because the moment of seeing this desk on the floor, the moment of seeing former NBA players and NBA players current in the stands, it's not as big anymore. It doesn't get that extra adrenaline, so you got to keep finding ways, and that's what Steve Kerr and his staff, you got to commend. Keep finding ways to motivate them to get the adrenaline rush, because they're professionals. They're going to come work. They're going to put the work in. Steph Curry, KD, but mentally, it is difficult to stay concentrating for that many years. Because I just know we played over 125. We have broke a record. Yeah, we broke because we played 7 games in every series. 7 in every.
You're talking about a lot of adrenaline you got to find.
Right, and then you come back and have to do it again the next year. We played over 125 games, which is it's a difficult time to understand. So, yes, it is difficult.
And to add on to what Kenny is saying, each individual, especially the starting five, has to find that, whatever it is, makes them go. For me, it was, I want to be up there with Magic and Kareem, so I was always hungry. For Kobe, I want to be the best player in the world. For all the other guys, thanks Shaq and Kobe for bringing us here. We're going to stick up for you. So each guy has to find that day. If you got one or two guys that
I wanted to be the first point guard in the modern era from New York City to get an NBA championship. Because there was nobody around. And I was like, I could be the first one to have it. So yeah, every
you
year
got to dig deep down and find whatever it is.
So, by the way, speaking of New York City, now I noticed you said that it was the first team to beat the Bulls.
You saw how he wanted to make sure, though, he shout out New York.
Well, I'm just saying the first team to beat the Bulls, the Knicks did, you mean without Jordan? That whole thing. With Kukoc the year before that.
No, we're not talking about when Pippen held his shoe up and said, please come back, Mike. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Mike was on the floor.
No, listen.
Yeah.
The 4-5 was on the floor.
New York fan.
No, I always get with the Bulls that beat you guys. I'm like, no, they lost to the
That's right.
to the Orlando Magic.
Yes,
he was wearing number 45.
They did.
I said, and we swept that team. So we would have been ready.
You beat the Bulls too.
I don't care what number he was wearing. He was on the floor.
He was on the floor.
Exactly.
He's Mike.
Well, if we could do that, I mean, I don't want to.
So if Kevin Durant comes back, we're like, oh, that's not the real Kevin Durant?
Well,
no, it's Kevin Durant.
Stop it. Listen, whoever on the floor is going to get it.
Gonna get it.
Period. If you're not on the